Well, just call me an interested third party.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you. Obviously, somebody made a deal with Josh Curtis. They agreed to lay off that slimeball gun-running back of his in return for rolling over on the A-team. Now, if you're really interested in us, why don't you use your influence in Washington to clear us?
Are you suggesting that I interfere with the due process of law?
I figured I'd do better with a firing squad.
There's one question that begs to be asked. Why'd you wait so long to come forward with your testimony?
War has a way of leaving very deep scars. It's been quite a few years since I've been able to talk about it at all.
Hey, Mr. Curtis, how do you earn your living, sir?
I'm self-employed. I'm in the import-export field.
And what sort of things do you import and export, sir?
Office equipment, farm machinery, that sort of thing.
Weapons?
Objection. I fail to see how this line of questioning concerns us.
The integrity of these proceedings very much concern us. This is an official, notarized Interpol report to the French government dated May 17th of this year, which describes the prosecution's witness, Josh Curtis, as, and I quote, a principal figure in international gun smuggling.
Objection overruled, Major.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Mr. Curtis, what about these reports? Have you ever been involved in gun smuggling?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
We're in the last reel now, madman. Benny's on the loose, the opposition's on the run.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I pursued Colonel Smith and the A-team for 3 long years. I lost track of how many laws they broke and how much military property they destroyed. I can tell you this. Rules mean nothing to these men, and they're loyal to no one but themselves. I have no doubt that they're capable of the crimes for which they're accused.
What a guy.
Colonel Decker, in those 3 long years that you pursued the A-team, were you ever aware of any civilians who were in trouble that they might have helped?
I was.
In your estimation, how many civilians who were in trouble did they help in those 3 years?
I wouldn't know.
Well, take a guess. A dozen, several dozen?
Several dozen. But that doesn't make it right.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
And like I said, before I know what's happening, those A-team guys is all over my case. They're wrecking my auto repair shop.
Mr. Pertain, I call your attention to these articles in Chicago newspapers. They're investigative reports about the proliferation of stolen auto parts. Would you explain to this court why your name appears so prominently in these articles?
Objection. The witness is not on trial here.
You ought to be.
Nobody has ever convicted Marco Batain of no crime. All I know is that they wrecked my life and the business that my beloved father built with his own hands. You guys are animals, and I hope you get what you deserve.
I know what you deserve, sucker. Fine, fool!
Remove the prisoner and the witness from the courtroom. Order in the courtroom.
I thought we were beginning to make some progress.
Well, BA's always been just a bit high-strung.
Look, if you want them to believe you're innocent, the 4 of you are going to have to take the stand and convince them.
What do you mean, all 4 of us?
They're planning to call your friend Captain Murdoch to testify against you.
Murdoch?
I was wondering why they hadn't named him in the original indictment. I think they plan to break him down on the stand and then indict him as a co-conspirator.
Murdoch on the stand. That should be interesting.
Mr. Murdoch, do you remember seeing Colonel Morrison on the night in question?
Certainly. I flew the accused to the aforementioned Hanoi bank, and then I returned, as per my orders, later that evening to the late Colonel Morrison's office.
And what time was this?
About 8 o'clock.
This was before the enemy shelling.
Oh, yes. It was just before, as a matter of fact. You see, that evening, there was a lot of enemy activity as I returned to the base. And that's why I had to fly in fast and low.
This is Captain Murdoch. I'm under attack. Mayday! Mayday! I'm under attack. Mayday! No! Is it possible? Can someone make a mayday call in January? Quick, someone bring me an army manual.
Oh, I'm sorry, Captain. We just ran out of army manuals, and all we have left are the Navy manuals and a few vegetarian Boy Scout manuals.
Then you'd better kiss me.
Tried to run my ship by the book. But how could I? I didn't know where the manuals were. I mean, naturally, I was upset. What kind of war was this where you run out of army manuals? And all the officers, they were all unreliable. They were all disloyal. And that's where I had them. I knew where the manuals were. They laughed at me and they made jokes. But I proved beyond the shadow of a doubt in which geometric logic that a duplicate key to the wardroom bookcase did exist. And I would have produced that key. But
naturally, I'm trying to cover these things by memory, and if I've left anything out, you just ask me specific questions, and I'll try to answer them one by one.